Last year, me and my father, one of his friends had a family emergency, and he had to get rid of a lot of his personal goods. So he offered us his car, and so he offered well under the asking price. But my dad has very strong opinions, as do I. So we're both stubborn, and we can't get over. We have very strong opinions when it comes to money. So he needed me, and I needed him to be able to purchase this car, and we couldn't settle our differences. We couldn't come to a resolution to figure out to make a good purchase for this car. It's very similar to kind of what's happening between us Democrats and Republicans here in the House. We can't come to a resolution to what we should do about the fiscal cliff. According to Phillips Hench, in the beginning of 2013, an article called "Economic Effects of Fiscal Tightening." In 2013, there will be across-the-board tax increases as well as spending decreases that are going to suck about $500 billion out of the economy. To put this in perspective, a family of four making about $666,000 a year in combined income would be taxed an additional $2,200 a year. This means, to put it maybe. Another example is a college student, maybe a student fresh out of college. On average, make about $18,000 a year. Under the current tax policy, they pay into taxes about $1,568. But it would raise to about $2,678, which is an additional $768 a year. We see a problem here because according to bankrate.com, the average American only saves the average 25% of Americans have 0 pennies saved in the dollar. They have no money. And the same study showed that 49% of Americans only have 3 months worth of saving for their expenses. So we can see that Americans are living paycheck by paycheck and would not be able to pay for this extra taxation. In this speech, I'm going to argue that you should vote for President Obama's fiscal plan to avoid fiscal tightening in 2013. I will argue this with 3 points. First, I will talk about how how the economy will go into a recession if we go over the fiscal cliff. Second, I will argue that President Obama's plan will avoid us from going into a recession. Third, I will argue that stimulus is part of the solution. Now, a study done by the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, showed that in the fourth quarter of 2013, the unemployment rate would rise from 7.9 to 9.1%. This equals 34 million jobs lost on a national level. But let's get a little more local. Here in California, that would equal, in the fourth quarter, which is the end of 2013, it would be 225,000 jobs lost. But that's not taken into consideration once we do go over the fiscal cliff. If we do go over that on January 1st, the 400,000 people that are currently unemployed would stop receiving unemployment checks. So this number could possibly be, by the end of 2013, 625,000 people without jobless. All these people without jobs would just be in need and wouldn't be able to put back into the economy. And it could be that the results could be devastating and send the economy on a national level back into a recession. Now that you see how the economy would go back into a deeper state of recession if we didn't do anything about the fiscal cliff, I'm going to argue that President Obama's plan is going to not let us go into a deeper state of recession. President Obama wants to let the Bush tax era tax cuts expire on those that make over $250,000 a year. This means, by taxing the wealthy, it promotes funding to education as well as infrastructure, and these are the backbones of what holds the middle class together and motivates them. It also means that once you tax the rich, you can reduce taxing to the middle class. And since the middle class has the strongest purchasing power, this extra money that the middle class has can be then used to help stimulate the economy with purchases and just extra money that they have in their pockets. Now that we can see how one part of President Obama's plan can help stimulate the economy, I'm also going to argue that stimulus is part of the solution. The Social Security payroll tax is what every individual pays into every paycheck. And 2 years ago, the percentage was lowered from 6.2 to 4.2% that all of us pay out of each of our paychecks to Social Security. What Obama wants to do is extend the 4.2% so that it can leave extra money in those Americans that are living paycheck by paycheck. It could be the difference, according to Christopher, economist at IHS. It could be the difference between being able to pay an electric bill. Another area where Obama wants to use stimulus money is for unemployment benefits. So, what unemployment benefits are if a person today currently declares themselves unemployed, they are in a state that has an unemployment rate higher than 9%. They can get up to 72 weeks of unpaid work. In a state where the unemployment rate is higher than 7%, they have the right to receive money for up to 62 weeks. But if this expires and we go over the fiscal cliff in January 1st of 2013, it means that those weeks would reduce to 26 weeks, which gives less time for those that are unemployed to find a job. Also means less money in their pockets so they can give to the economy. This would cost about $300 billion of stimulus money. But it is part of the solution. In this speech, I have argued that if we do not do something about the fiscal cliff, we will go back into a recession. Secondly, I argue that President Obama's plan will avoid us from going into a recession. Third, I argued that stimulus is part of the solution. So all of us, Democrats and Republicans, we have to go and vote for Obama's plan. So we won't make a bad decision and that will, in the end, hurt all the American people. Thank you.